Hello everyone. This is Nammernan, and do mind that my air filter is on right now, so fortunately my voice might get a little bit muffled in this video. But with that being said, today I want to talk about what I've been up to while on the 2-week, I would say break, but more so 2 weeks of suffering because of the sleep deprivation and all that. But yeah. So what I've been doing is I've been playing around with a couple of different teams. So first one I want to talk about is definitely this fire team, although I have a different version of it that I was using. And then this team right here. I was trying to do the altruism challenge, and originally I was going to hopefully get gold in altruism and make a video about that, but when I tried to get the clips for it, every single time I would literally run into a grass team that, you know, kind of destroyed my team. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but I will still talk about this team, although I don't have any good replays of it, sadly. And then we'll talk about the fire team as well. So first, let's talk about this team. Walking Wake is... So the Walking Wake Samurott Hisui core is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And these two work pretty well together. This guy breaks most of the checks to this guy's checks, and vice versa. And they're just having a solid revenge killer in Samurott is always great. Dark water typing is always good offensively, especially since it hits a lot of the metagame neutrally. And Ceaseless Edge is of course a broken move, so all that's good. I decided to use Ogre Pawn as my setup sweeper since I do think I need one. Even though I do have a choice specs user, I still think having a setup sweeper is definitely ideal, especially on Spike's team, since this technically is one of those. And to meet the altruism requirements, normally I would use Swampert here, but because of the fact that it's an altruism team, I couldn't use Swampert, so I decided to go for a Quagsire, and went for a Stealth Rock set. That's basically like a little bit of a budget Swampert. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't have oh my goodness. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't have Flip Turn, but it should be fine with this set alone. Not having a water move kind of sucks sometimes though, because Heatran kind of comes in on this set for free if it's a balloon, as well as like a couple of other annoying mons as well, so that's very annoying, but otherwise this set is honestly pretty fine. Empoleon is also a mon I've been meaning to use a lot because I really like how this thing works in the current metagame. I use Flip Turn, Surf, Flash Cannon, Roost. Normally you would have I believe, no, he doesn't have Defog. Normally you would have a different move though on this particular set, but I decided to go for dual stabs and a Flip Turn because I just like that a lot more. And we have Tentacool, which this mon is just every single time I come back to making a water team, I always come back to this mon because it just does too much for what it is. It does Rapid Spin, and it also is a water poison type, so you can soak up toxic spikes if you see any. And it also is unique in being able to screw over certain Ogre Pawn sets, namely ones that use Horn Leech over Power Whip, since if it uses Horn Leech, if any of the Ogre Pawn forms use Horn Leech, like even Hearthflame or Cornerstone, I could just switch into Tentacool, and Tentacool will remove a lot of their health for doing that. And it comes in very clutch as well against Strength Sap users like Bramblegast as well. So that is not something to take lightly. It is very useful. It is very useful. And I would use it over Clear Body or Rain Dish any day. But yeah, I don't have replays of this team sadly, or anything substantial. It's just me beating up 1300s players. So yeah, fortunately nothing of value to show for this team. This team, however, I do have some stuff of value to show. So, and you already know when I named the team, I'm using it quite a bit. But yeah, we have standard Volcarona set, along with a standard Ninetales set. This is just a regular Sun team, but it has Skeledirge on it. And the reason why I have Skeledirge over Skeledirge, even though Skeledirge is better offensively, I wanted to use Skeledirge because I find that Skeledirge is very annoying to try and upkeep rocks for, because Cinderace does do a decent job of preventing rocks sometimes, but against really good opponents, they will manage to get rocks off at the same time as you put in Cinderace when you use Core Change, especially with mons like Skarmory and stuff like that. So it can be very annoying to try and keep rocks off the field, especially since you don't have a way to remove them yourself on most teams, unless you're using Talonflame or Ultras. So it can be very, very annoying to even remotely get any progress done with with Skeledirge in order to get it onto the field. When it does get onto the field, it does great work, don't get me wrong, but it can be very annoying to use because of its reliance on Focus Sash. So because of that, I decided to use Skeledirge instead. And Skeledirge here walls quite a few Pokemon. Now, this thing used to be good pre-Teal Mask, I believe, because pre-Teal Mask, Ogerpon didn't exist yet, and Fire was a bit more it was a bit less offensive oriented. It could actually afford to fit in defensive Pokemon, but nowadays you'll be struggling to find Fire being able to fit in defensive Pokemon, barring Heatran and a few other exceptions, like a Torkoal. But Skeledirge is unique because it is a spin blocker, which is one of my favorite things to have on a team, and it also is an unaware user, which in this metagame is actually pretty good, because there are some Pokemon that can actually be checked or made easier to deal with because of the fact that it has unaware. Like, you'd be surprised at some of the mons that this thing can actually help me deal with because of its unaware ability. For example, we have Spectrier. Spectrier, after a couple of boosts, becomes impossible for my team to deal with, especially if it's behind a substitute. But this thing can actually take a hit from Spectrier, unless it's Choice Specs, of course. But it can take a hit from any non-Specs Spectrier set and actually kill its substitute, or maybe straight up kill it with a Hex, which can be very useful. It's also very handy in Sun, because in Sun this thing can take quite a few water hits as well, since our team lacks Volcanion. Now, originally I did have Volcanion on this team, but Volcanion was being a bit too slow for my liking, and it was just really hard to fit because I wanted to make sure I had Cinderace and Volcarona as well, and Heatran just borderline feels necessary for the type, otherwise you get destroyed by any sort of rock type sweeper. So yeah, I definitely, if I can ideally get Volcanion and Skeledirge onto the same team, that would be very huge, but I'd be missing at least one important Pokemon for Fire if I do so. So unfortunately, that is probably not going to be a thing that I'll be able to do, but I was able to get a decent showing for this team. So let me just show you replay real quick. So here's the first one. Yeah, minor spoiler, I win, but this one is against a fighting team. I know fighting pretty well, so I knew that I'd have a pretty good advantage if I could manage to get Sun up and also get Ogerpon Hearthflame in. So I immediately switch out expecting the close combat. I was correct. And this thing actually does switch into Iron Valiant pretty well, since it takes the special hits surprisingly decently, especially from the mixed sets. Now, I was expecting him to go into something else, but he instead went into his mon right here. This Volcarona set at this moment in time is also mono fire move, which is why I didn't click Psychic here, because I was testing out a different Volcarona set that's focused on beating up Dragon and soloing it. Unfortunately, I was against Urshifu, so that did not go as well as I wanted it to. We lose Ninetales here, but we get rocks. excuse me, we don't get rock stab, but we get the sun up. And as you can see, Skeledirge is able to take the searching strikes in sun pretty well. So even if this wasn't, although I think it was Sword Stance, but even if it did get a Sword Stance off, it would still be able to wall it there, or wall in quotation marks, but yeah. We unfortunately get paralyzed here, which is very annoying. Paralysis is the bane of my existence because it's basically getting pseudo-frozen. We do get the Will-O-Wisp off on him though, and we're able to deal with that. We luckily are able to get the Slack off. We use Will-O-Wisp because I think that he's going to stay in, but he does not. I was also expecting the trick Loki, but he did not do that either. So we just stay in and take a few hits from Gallade. Unfortunately, I get paralyzed on that turn, which is not ideal. But we do manage to luckily get the Slack off again. And we try to get another Slack off as well, but this one is too risky, so I think I switch out here. Oh, I did not. And I get another Slack off. So we just slowly wear this thing down. And of course I'm running out of Slack off BP, but still was able to get the job done. As you can see, it takes the Thunderbolt really well. I use Torch Song. I decided to switch out afterwards and kill off by Cinderace since there's no way for it to come back in. And we get in Ogerpon. Ogerpon should be able to get some big damage off since it won't die. I believe that was a roll, but I think it's a roll in my favor. Sneasler comes in, uses U-turn, so we're confirming that it's Scarf. And we put in Skeledirge again. Remember, Sword Stance doesn't do anything because I'm unaware. And because he's burnt, he's also doing Giga no damage to me, so we're able to just kind of sit there, do nothing. So he goes all the way up to full, but it doesn't do anything because, again, we're unaware. So all those Sword Stance boots do absolutely nothing. And we just Torch Song him down. And that should be the rest of the game as well, since Sneasler can't really do anything. Uses Dire Claw, and after that, since we know he's Scarf, I knew that I would just win instantly, so... Because Heatran could just switch in at any time and just stop him from doing anything, so yeah. And here's a game as well, against prominent ladderer Winconzi. This is a bad matchup, for sure. But, yeah, I also don't play this game absolutely perfectly because I was kind of mental blocked because by the fact that I was up against Rainwater, but yeah, I was expecting to put in someone else there. Again, if I had Giga Drain or literally any other useful move there, that would have been good. Sadly, it is not. He gets the Ceaseless Edge off. I luckily get the burn. He doesn't die, but yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, he calls me out with the Sacred Sword. Good play by him. But I do get a spike off, so... Alright, I switched back into and you can see from the comments I'm also talking about how I'm trying to make a case for Skeledirge to be B rank on fire. Because I do think that Mon has great potential. We see the Pelipper come in and we get rocks off. He's not, Pelipper doesn't have defog anymore, so those things should stay up permanently, which should give me some good progress against this team, which I will need every little bit of progress I can get. Now, Skeledirge in Sun is able to take on Barraskewda, which is something that only Volcanion can also do, but Volcanion can also get worn down by close combat uses, so Skeledirge I still believe is a bit better at dealing with it. Unluckily though, his Pelipper is heavy-duty boots, so it's very tough for me to wear that thing down because it will constantly U-turn out when I reset Sun. Because if I let him get rain for one turn, my entire team falls apart. So I have to make sure that he can't do that. Now, unfortunately, I think I click Magma Storm here. Or no, I clicked another useless move, Earth Power, on the Pelipper. As I said, I don't play this perfectly, but you can still see how much pressure Skeledirge is able to get off because I keep it at full HP, and Barraskewda just cannot do anything to it. It's single-handedly stopping the bomb from doing anything. Now, Volcanion can do this as well, but Volcanion, as I said before, gets worn down by close combat, so all Wincon would have to do is just use close combat once, and suddenly Volcanion's just... he's not able to switch in anymore. Due to Skeledirge being immune to close combat, it's able to take those hits a bit better. Now, that being said, I don't know the fourth move that most people usually use on Barraskewda. I thought it was Crunch, but maybe it's not. I'm not sure what it is, but regardless, it's probably taking that well as well. And it has Slack Off, so it's not like it just gets permanently worn down. But yeah, I do lose this game because Wincon is significantly... well, he has a good matchup, and he's also just a very good player, so it was very hard for me to make any progress on his water team, but I did get very close. I got very close to defeating his team, and Overbun is also... Overbun's very good, so I decided to risk it all, let Ninetales die, get the Hurricane Miss, and I decide to I believe I H-wish this. We get Ogerpon to full HP. Obviously it still takes the rocks damage, but yeah. I decided to greedily Sword Stance because I need to. And sadly he does get Pelipper back in, and I do lose here because now Barraskewda just one-shots Ogerpon. But you can see that I was able to hold it off. But yeah, you can see the potential that Skeledirge has because it is the only mon that could have done what I did there against Barraskewda, because Barraskewda could have at any point have just clicked close combat against Volcanion and it would have been worn down, but way harder. And using close combat against Fire, especially since I lost Volcarona early, it would have been very easy for him to do something. So yeah, generally good showing for Skeledirge here, and I am making a forum post soon for the viability rankings, hopefully showing that Skeledirge can potentially be a B rank mon on Fire, because I do think it has potential, and I think it is pretty decent. And I think it just doesn't belong in the same tier as some of the other C rank mons. So I'm going to be doing that in the background, but yeah, that's it for this video. Sorry it's a bit all over the place, but yeah, I just want to show you guys what I've been doing, or what I've been working on, because I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background and sleep deprivation is annoying as hell, but hopefully this video tides you over. I will be working on the L Trank interview in the background though, so be sure to watch out for that sometime next month. But that will be it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.